Hi everyone, it's Carissa at Sprinkled with Glitter, and I am here with a card project for you today. I'm going to be using this stamp set and this card kit. It's the May Camelot card kit from Studio Calico. The stamp set is awesome. It's by One Canoe 2, and I wanted to show you some of the other things that you get in the card kit as well. So there's a couple of different types of ribbon, a gold tinsel and a grosgrain ribbon, and then there's this flare that's gold, and I just love this. I don't know who did this, but it's fabulous. You also get some buttons and some gems there that you can see, and the colors all coordinate really nicely together. I'll just flip through the pattern papers really quickly and you can see the variety that you get here. There's a couple of geometrics, some wood grain, a stripe pattern, just a really nice combination of different colors and patterns. So what I want to do is create kind of a wonky cake on this card, and I'm going to start, and I'm just going to stack those different stamps up to do that. But first I want to start with embossing my cake stand. So in order to prepare my cardstock and to keep strays from sticking, I prepped it with an EK Success powder tool, and then I inked up my stamp with some Versamark ink, and then I'll just line it up using my grid mat and stamp that down onto the white cardstock there. Now you'll see here that when I add my gold embossing powder, I actually did end up with some stray embossing powder in places that I didn't want it, but that's okay. I'm going to remedy that. So I'm just going to tap off the excess first, and you can see that those holes that are meant to be in the stand are not showing up there. So I'm going to show you a little trick that I use besides a brush in getting all those open areas clean. When there's a closed area that's kind of hard to get into, I just use my little craft pick and then go in there and clean out that extra embossing powder, and then I can heat set that, and then I have a pretty gold stand. Now I was playing with these stamps earlier, and I created like this cake layer using these two separate stamp pieces, and I liked the spacing on those, so I'm just lining those stamps up again on that piece that I already stamped, and then I'll pick them up with my stamp block, and then I can stamp them onto that cake stand. Now I decided I wanted a really bold black and white cake because I wanted the colors to come in on the flowers that I'll be doing later. So I'm using the VersaFine Black Onyx ink. This is one of my favorite black inks, and it just gives me a really nice crisp black image. So I'm going to stamp this next cake layer here, and you can see I didn't do such a great job of that. I have some missing pieces, but that's okay. I'm going to go back and fix that later too. And then finally, this last cake layer is I want to go on top, but it's a little wider than what I want it to be. So I just masked off the ends with some Post-it tape, and then I can ink it up using that VersaFine Black Onyx ink again. Now before I stamp this onto my piece, I want to take off those pieces that we're masking, so I'm just going to remove those, and then I can stamp that on top of my cake. And you can see here I did not get a good image at all, but that's okay. I'm going to fix it. So you see that, and I debated going back and trying to re-ink this, and I just decided not to. So now I'm just bringing in a black Copic multi-liner and then filling in all those areas that I didn't quite get filled in enough, and that made it to where it was acceptable to me. So now I'm going to be doing some ink layering for the flowers. Now this technique I actually learned from Jennifer McGuire on her blog, and so this is not something I made up. I just want to throw that in there. But I'm starting out with these flowers, and I'm stamping it in a light pink ink. I'm going to do all three flowers. This first one's going to be light pink. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to layer up. Now these are Avery Elle pigment inks that I'm using for this. You could use any kind of pigment ink, but I'm going to layer up some pigment inks on top of each other. I'm just taking a little makeup sponge here and cutting it into fours because I don't have enough ink daubers in my collection to kind of use those. Ink daubers would probably be best because of that round center that you get, but I'm going to use makeup sponges today. So I'm cleaning off my stamp there, and then I'm going to take a darker color of pink and I'm going to re-stamp that flower right over the other one. Now at first you'll see me use this pink, and what you'll see me do the technique here, I'm just going to ink up in the very center of that stamp using the darker pink ink, and then I'm going to stamp that flower directly on top of the other one. Now this pink on top of that lighter pink was not quite dark enough, so I came back in with this really dark pink ink and inked the center again and then stamped over that, and that gave me the look that I was really going for, kind of a really nice graduated color. So you see that darker color there in the center, and then it fades out to the lighter on the outside. So I went ahead and repeated this process. For the smallest flower, I used yellow ink and then inked the center with an orange color. And then for the medium-sized flower, I used two different colors of blue. You see one sitting up in the corner of my screen right now. But you're seeing me here just ink that smallest flower with the orange in the center. I like to stamp those down onto some scratch paper to dry them off. Now once I got those all stamped the way I wanted, I went ahead and did my least favorite technique in stamping and card making, and that is the fussy cut. But don't worry, I survived it. So I got those all cut out, and then I repeated that process with the green inks for the leaves. And then I decided I wanted these layers to be connected, so I'm just drawing in some free-handed lines there. Once I got those layers all connected with the Copic marker, I'm just tucking in these flowers, and they are on some foam dimensional adhesive here, and I'm just positioning them where I want them. So I'm just kind of not really pushing them down until I get them exactly where I want them. And then I'll place that yellow flower there on the corner, and then I'm just going to tuck in these leaves that I created as well, and I fussy cut those and just get that all positioned where I wanted. And then I thought this needed a little more gold, so I brought in some of that gold tinsel twine that was in the kit and tied a little bow around the base of my stand as well. And then I brought in my We Are Memory Keepers corner chomper. This is the 3/8 inch corner chomper, and I just chomped that down. Now this actually ended up being the same size as a Project Life card. So you've seen me use that format before, but I just love it and it tends to work really well. So I wanted to position this pattern paper on my card base. This is just a regular A2 size card base, and I wanted it kind of wonky style. So I just put some adhesive all over the back of that portion of cardstock, and then just put it on my card base the way I wanted it, and then just took it back over to my trimmer and trimmed off the excess. Now those other scrap pieces I can keep for another card, but you can see here I got kind of that wonky style shape on my card front with that pattern paper. So now it's time to adhere that cake piece, and I'm just using some foam adhesive once again to attach this to the front of my card, and once I get it all positioned exactly where I want it, I will push it down. Now it's time to do the sentiment, and this stamp set's great because it has many options, and I decided to use Happy Birthday, but this could definitely be an anniversary card. And I'm just stamping that on a piece, that banner piece, on a piece of white cardstock, and I flipped it over so that my banner would be white. Now I'm just positioning my sentiment stamps where I want them, and I ended up embossing them here, but I went back and stamped them in just some regular gold ink. Now to give this banner some dimension, I'm just scoring a couple of lines at the end of this banner, and then I'm just folding them back and forward to create a little dimension there. And then to keep that from falling, I'll just put a little piece of foam tape right behind the parts that I folded to keep that up. And then I can attach it along the base of my cake stand there. And so there is a close-up of those layered ink flowers that I created. Just a really fun technique, and I just absolutely love this card kit by Studio Calico. It's the Camelot card kit. I have links to all the products I used in this project in my YouTube description, as well as over at my blog at sprinkledwithglitter.com. Thanks for stopping by today. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope you have a fabulous day.